On the periphery of their diminishing country, Biafran troops try a small, brave assault on the Nigerian enemy. The assault comes to nothing, a brief counterattack in the steady and bloody process of retreat. Lacking heavy armaments and tanks themselves, the Biafrans are reduced to elementary tank traps against the heavy armor of the enemy. The barricades are inadequate. The federal troops move on. As the refugees are driven from the battle areas, they have fewer places to hide. After Port Harcourt and Enugu had fallen, this town of Umaya became the Biafran capital. From Santa May, the former Portuguese prison island, 90 minutes flying time into the Atlantic, aid and arms are still going into Biafra. These flights have been the source of Biafra's strength. By daylight, only food and medical supplies are flown in from Santa May. In the past year, £15 million has been spent carrying aid this way to relieve suffering. But at night, according to the students, armaments are also flown into Biafra aboard planes loaded in Lisbon. Officials at Santa May deny this. The relief administrators are embarrassed by the charge that they are now prolonging the war.
Would you say that your relief has not only saved these lives but made it possible for Biafra to carry on fighting its war?
I do not think so, because our relief program is for the civilian population only, especially our food goes to the children in the feeding centers in Biafra. Now, these children know nothing about political niceties. They know nothing about economic blockade or secession or independence or any of these ideas we hear expressed by adults and matured people.
We've noticed on our stay here that the arms planes smuggle in on your routes at night. Does that worry you at all?
In fact, no ammunition plane leaves here. None whatever. I can testify and swear in the Bible that no ammunition plane whatever leaves this island and goes into Biafra.
They do refuel sometimes and go.
Empty ammunition planes come back here, refuel and go on to Lisbon. But these planes are empty, but certainly no ammunition plane as such with ammunition leaves this island, because the Portuguese authorities here in São Tomé do not in fact allow it to happen. And we have reservations therefore on this island for relief and relief only at present.
Yes, I'm slightly confused because I know that arms planes have left in my presence.
Well,
and I've talked to the people who are ferrying them.
Well, I challenge you to show me at any time, and I will give you £50 on the spot if you can show me an ammunition plane loaded with ammunition leaving this island.
Each evening, the planes carrying food can make 3 flights apiece. If all 8 planes are in operation, that's 200 tons a day. An equal amount is flown in from Libreville by the Red Cross. With the enemy only 20 miles away, the refugee children are fed with their 1 meal a day, a high-protein meal of fish stock or cornmeal or soya bean and milk formulas. The terrible starvation of last autumn is now almost over, although the military situation has deteriorated. The aid came just in time, but even so, too late to save thousands of deaths from starvation. Here, the aid is distributed by a Catholic priest, elsewhere by Protestants.
I'm coming. I can be Aiba. I can be Aiba. Geneva. 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 Biko. Biko.
While the priests distributed food, nearby the English students found Biafran officials telling the children about the evils of Nigeria.
They are pursuing us, killing us. They are killing our parents, our brothers, our fathers, and even ourselves. Most of our parents are shot in the farm. Our homes are destroyed. Houses are burnt. Parents, women are also murdered. Even children.
Even the children, it seems, must be told that Biafrans must fight or be massacred. The Nigerians have given some cause for the fear of massacre by bombing marketplaces like Umaya, where scores of civilians were killed. For the Biafrans behind the lines, these attacks are proof of their leaders' claim that Nigerian policy is indeed genocide.
We are Biafrans, we are Biafrans, we can never, never be Nigerians, ever Biafrans, never Nigeria. Oh Biafra, our own land, oh Biafra, our own land.
In the last days of Umaya, as the enemy advanced on the capital, a patriotic rally was organized for the benefit of the visiting students. All this audience have now fled the town.
Come closer, everybody. Now sing this song with me. The rising sun, Biafra, the rising sun, everywhere. The rising sun, Biafra, the rising sun. I know.
The display was a very effective piece of political propaganda, but can it now be more than whistling in the dark?
Move on, Biafrans, move on, Biafrans. This is your moving day, yeah. Move a little closer for the war is ending. Move on, Biafrans, move on.
The exuberance of this rally, almost in sight of the enemy guns, was matched by the optimism of the Commissioner for Information.
How are you getting your arms?
We buy our arms from the black market, wherever it's available, but we can't tell you how we get our money. Why not?
Why not?
Well, we're a nation at war. If we tell you how we get our resources for fighting the war, it is quite easy for those who don't like it.
But this would seem to imply that there is a major power in fact that.
Yeah. I don't think your statement follows from my own statement. There are no relationship.
Well,
unless you want to say that money only comes from powers, then you're right to say, to conclude that because we have money, then the money must come from a big power.
Are we right to conclude that the Biafran economy, as it now stands, is incapable on its own of maintaining the war effort?
I think you're very wrong to conclude, because I haven't told you how the money comes.
you can see one.
Biafra has great oil reserves, is a rich prize. As the war rages, the Biafrans have shown great ingenuity with small oil refineries in the bush, which produce petrol for the war effort.
How good is your petrol?
Very good.
Yeah? How many octane have you got?
About 55.
That's low by our standards. What
Very
about
low
your
by our
cars? Are they all right?
It's not making any difference to our cars. Not now. We haven't noticed any.
Yet much of the transport is out of action a lot of the time.
The drum here is a 90-gallon drum in which we have about 70 gallons of crude oil. This is, as you see, boiled, and it comes out through what we call the heat exchanger. The vapors come out from the heat exchanger, and through the heat exchanger moves on into the pipes until we have at the effluent at the very end there. Are you all right? Shall I introduce one of, please, if you don't mind? That's it. That's it. You better move.
One of the small refineries exploded while the students were there, but no one was hurt. The remarkable Biafran effort to be self-sustaining will become more difficult as the territory diminishes. At the beginning of this week, the citizens of Umaya began to abandon the town, frightened of massacre. The Nigerians were already on the outskirts. The more prosperous refugees drove away by car. The rest walked.
I don't even know where to run. I have no idea. I have no idea which direction to go. My hometown is behind the enemy line now. I have nowhere to go.
Are you taking all your things with you?
I can't carry all my things, so I'm just picking a few of my things.
What do the people generally feel?
Everybody is so depressed. Nobody has idea. Almost about 3/4 of the girls have nowhere to go. We are just going to any direction.
Yesterday, the Nigerians marched in. The capital had fallen. In a country now only 20 miles by 40, there is nowhere much to drive, and little guarantee of security when you get there. For the sick and the crippled, desperately getting away from the front, there is no consolation. From the no-man's land near the front lines, children are brought in starving.
A few nurses who are helping us, but we're also very short of drugs.
So they couldn't survive with you?
Some of them may. It's amazing. We have cases also of children that were restored practically fully to health, and then suddenly they died because kwashiorkor and marasmus has the effect of weakening the heart, and sometimes they die of heart failure. When you think that they're running around and in good form again, they suddenly collapse and die.
What has your death rate been here recently?
Father Wallace, what would you say the death rate was here recently in this camp?
I suppose about 4 or 5 to 6 in the month.
4 or 5 in a week?
About 6, an average of 6 in the month.
Oh, in a month, which is very low, considerably. And of course the Igbos are convinced that they're going to be massacred.
How long will the fear of genocide keep the Biafran troops in the firing line? The English students joined in an action with a platoon of Biafran infantry. Relief food does not officially feed the troops, but like soldiers everywhere, they have their means. Their arms come from many countries, but these bullets and mortars are French, and it seems now that the French will withdraw their support from the Biafran cause. If Biafra is going to fight on, then its troops will have to rely even more heavily on British or Russian arms captured from the federal Nigerian forces.
These are captured enemy weapons. You can see a lot of them. Captured ones. And this is enemy captured regular British made.
Russian made rifles.
Which ones?
This one.
In this action, the Biafrans were hoping to push the Nigerians back along the road to Port Harcourt. In the previous few days, they'd had some successes in skirmishes and killed several Nigerians. But on this day, the Biafrans soon discovered that the Nigerians had outflanked them, and they had to retreat in the face of enemy armored cars. This is now the pattern of the war. The Biafran determination to fight, although retreating, does not seem to diminish. Their faith remains as strong as ever.
O God, to whom vengeance belongeth, show thyself. Lift up thyself, thou judge of the earth, and reward a reward to the proud Nigerians. Lord, how long shall the wicked Nigerians have?
With the troops to sustain their faith was one of their own preachers. In his biblical texts, the evil are always Nigerian, the good Biafran.
They broke in pieces, and they, people of the Lord, afflict their heritage. They slay the widow and stranger and murder the fatherless.
Excuse me.
Yet they say.
Can I ask the troops, do you believe in the spiritual walls?
Well, on the behalf of my soldiers, my troops, in fact, we believe. We believe in God. God does everything.
Fighting a just cause, we believe God will help us. And as a result, whatever that comes out of God's will, we take.
Including defeat if it comes?
No,
Well,
we can't. I don't think God will allow us to be defeated.